Hey, Terry Rich, I'm back. Look at this. I have Professor Jeff Stein with us. Jeff, I have the gift of gab, but I know you have the gift of knowledge, and that knowledge is about Iowa history. Thanks for joining us all the way from up in Cedar Falls, Waterloo area. And today we're going to talk about something that happened because a lot of history has been made with the Iowa caucuses, and I can't remember what year it was. It really changed the course of a couple of conversations in those caucuses, didn't it?
Absolutely. Good morning, Terry, and good morning, everyone. The 2000 Iowa caucuses were held on January 24th in that year. Candidate debates were more limited back then, just 2 decades ago. So it was quite an event when all 6 remaining Republican candidates were on the same stage in Des Moines on this date, December 13th of 1999, some 6 weeks before our first in the nation caucuses. 6 seemed like an awful lot of candidates at the time. They included Alan Keyes, Steve Forbes, Gary Bauer, Orrin Hatch, John McCain, and George W. Bush.
Wow. That seems like not many people. Today you'd have about twice that many, wouldn't you?
There are times you not only have twice that many, but you may recall in the last cycle, we had to have 2 separate debates at times. It was kind of like the adult table and the kiddie table because of the number of candidates. Now, for this event in 1999, Bush was leading in the polls, but he really made news with his answer to a question posed by one of the debate moderators, John Bachman in Des Moines. Bachman asked the candidates this very simple question: what political philosopher or thinker do you most identify with and why? When it was his turn, the Texas governor gave a somewhat unique answer. Listen to this.
Christ, because he changed my heart.
I think that the viewer would like to know more on how he's changed your heart.
Well, if they don't know, it's going to be hard to explain. When you turn your heart and your life over to Christ, when you accept Christ as a Savior, it changes your heart, it changes your life.
Wow, that's an amazing statement. I didn't remember that. That seemed to be something different. You probably wouldn't hear that today.
Well, you probably wouldn't, you're right. And the others answered in a very different way. For example, some said Theodore Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, the founding fathers as a group, Ronald Reagan. Bush, though, said Christ. Now, then Governor Bush went on to win the Iowa caucus, as you may recall. He then, of course, won his party's nomination and then won the presidency in one of the closest votes in American history, not decided until a U.S. Supreme Court decision 35 days after Election Day. But it was during a debate at the Civic Center in Des Moines that Bush identified Christ as a political philosopher he admired. And it happened, Terry, on this date back in 1999.
Wow, 20 years ago. And caucuses have really changed quite a bit over the years, haven't they?
Boy, you know, it was great to have all the national attention and all of the attention paid on Iowa. But nowadays, if you're a local group, you can't get a debate because the national parties, in my view, have taken over way too much of the whole thing. And so we still are fighting hard to keep our uniquely Iowa approach. But the reality is the other guys want a piece of it. And so that takes it away a little bit from what it used to be. But it's still worth having as far as I'm concerned. And I'm already looking forward to 2024, I guess.
I'm 100% with you. I think it was almost 20 years ago, Greg Edwards, who will be on the show tomorrow with Catch Des Moines, invited me to go down and hand me, because they were in charge of the press area, and to see all of the variety of people and personalities that were in that one room was very exciting, but also just a little scary from a security standpoint.
Well, it is, but as you noted, they now have these centralized areas. You'll see journalists from all over the world for days on end. I can remember these Civic Center debates. I'd go stand in the very back row of the Civic Center. That's where they put the media people, and you could see it from a distance. It was just a simpler time, perhaps, but again, as long as we can stay first, we can keep those national people at bay, I bet.
Okay, Jeff, you're a wealth of knowledge, and you have fun delivering it. That's what I like about it. Tell us where people can find out more about history and that Iowa Almanac.
IowaAlmanac.com. That's easy for me to say. IowaAlmanac.com is the website. Also Twitter, Instagram, Parler, and Getter at Iowa Almanac.
Always a pleasure talking to you. Say hi to everybody. Stand by for some wind coming up Wednesday, we just heard, but I think it'll get cool. We're going to have a great holiday season, so thanks.
Terry, always a pleasure. Merry Christmas to you and yours.